If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
He didn't want it to be a good snap or a great snap. He wanted a perfect snap. I mean, the guy is a total psycho in every aspect of life. And so even if the stitches, weren't that big of a deal, I mean, it doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it easier to throw a football with 10 stitches in your hand or whatever he had.
Tom probably had no desire to go to that team, but now it's like, why don't you want me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I look back, I'm like, I just don't fucking way I would have went to that team. But they said they didn't want me, and I know what that means. I know what that feels like, and I'm going to fuck you up because of that.
Famous for his sideline outbursts and fiery competitiveness on the field, it should come as no surprise that Brady loathes losing and keeps everyone on edge.
Because winning is not enough for him. He's won enough. It's about championships. Once you get to his level, it's all about championships.
As a guy that loves to practice, he is the most intense practice player I ever played with. So the fact that he wasn't able to practice on Thursday, that would drive him bonkers. I mean, he would absolutely be seething about that. He's intense. I mean, he used to get intense with me about snapping the ball to him.
It's also just great to see him now with nothing to play for.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
There's nothing to play for. What?
Well, in our minds.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's great to see him then find the things to play for.
Yeah.
Oh, these teams passed me up. Oh, this team that said yes to me, I got to prove to them
the motivation
that was a great choice that they made.
Yep.
So while we're sitting here saying, oh, there's nothing for him to play for, he won a Super Bowl, he won the game of life, he's Tom Brady, he's playing in the match, he's got the cheekbones, the Tom Ford, the whole thing. Avocados don't make him fat. They do for everybody else if you eat too much. But he finds the nuggets of motivation. He finds the reason to go out there and to do it. And that's a little insight into the mind of, one of the greatest of all, if not the greatest of all time.
There's that classic story where Joe Montana in the Super Bowl in the middle of a 2-minute drill looks up during a timeout and says, hey, is that John Candy? And the idea is that no moment was too big. He was always just so composed and so cool. Is that Tom Brady, or is Brady more on edge and more fiery when it comes to those 2-minute drills and those big moments?
Well, I think you could probably say that's kind of Tom Brady, that no moment's too big for him. I think he had a quote this past week talking about that the more he studies, the less nervous he gets. So, and the more he prepares. So, which makes sense. But who would think Tom Brady even gets nervous in the first place?
True.
But, but it just tells you the more he knows about your football team, the less worries he's going to have about the entire game. And there's nothing you can throw at him that he hadn't seen before.
My first week in the room with him, Josh is asking me questions about the film. He clicks one play. He goes, what's his play call? And I pause for literally a second, and Tom answered. And I got pissed, and I'm like, what the? Josh, you got to be that fast. I would always be there during rookie minicamp and stuff when they weren't in the building. It would be super cold, so I would turn the thermometer up so I can warm up a little bit. One day, he came in the room, and we were watching film. He goes, who turned the thermometer up? I go, oh, man, I kind of did when I was freezing. He goes, dude, I've been here for 17 years. I haven't touched that thermometer once, and you've been here for a week, and you're already touching the thermometer. I was like, oh, man, it's going to be a long year.
You did try to take Brady out.
No, we just tried to win the game. We were hitting him so often and so fast from the beginning of that game. We're looking around like, okay, they're tricking us. Like, they're tricking us. This is not, maybe they're setting us up so we can rush so fast and they'll throw a screen over our head or something. But then we realized once he was cursing out the line, this is real. He's not cursing these guys out for nothing. He's kind of pissed that we're getting to him.
We were playing at Buffalo. For whatever reason, we couldn't fly back, so we had to stay the night in Rochester. At some point, there's a chugging contest that starts. So it takes some coaxing, but we finally get him up there. And when I tell you that you couldn't have poured the beer out of the glass faster than he drank it, and of course, in his competitiveness, he drinks it, slams the glass on the table, and flexes, and everybody, the whole team is there, and everybody just loses it. The guys that were competing against him, I don't even know if they finished the beer. It was it was so fast.
It was actually at a charity basketball game. It was, East Walpole or something like that. About the third quarter, and we're losing to these middle-aged, overweight firemen. Tom Brady let us have it. Guys, we're not losing to the fire department. We're professional athletes. And sure enough, he starts knocking down this bank shot three-pointer, and I think we walked away with a victory that afternoon against a small-town Massachusetts fire department for charity. Tom was not going to let us lose.
When you take a quarterback down, when you sack a quarterback, do you say anything to him? Do you say, I'm coming back?
No, because, some quarterbacks feed off of that stuff.
I know that. Oh, you mean that?
Tom Brady,
hear that.
Tom Brady, you start talking trash to him, he'll put 21 up on you fast. And so I just try to,
if you talk trash to Brady, he's got 21 points on him.
Yeah, he's going to put it up fast.
During training camp, we would always, during special teams, we would work on our throwing with good arch on our deep balls. So we would throw into a trash can. Well, one day, I hit like 3 in a row from 40 yards out, and I went up on him like $5,000. And I could tell it drove him nuts. He said double or nothing. I'm like, all right, so I hit it again. Then he says like triple or nothing. So like at that point, I was so far ahead of him, like the rest of the year was a breeze. Like even if he got a few on me, I was still always up. And by the end of the season, he hadn't paid me, and Bill O'Brien joked, he's like, he's never gonna pay you. He's just gonna keep the game going until he wins. So the following year, we're in the locker room before the game, and he sits down next to me and just hands me like $5,000 in $20 bills. Like he finally admitted defeat.
He allows, to be coached and to be coached hard, and I think it permeates to the whole team. I know I'm fortunate to have that experience behind him and learn from him. That just mindset of you can't take any breaks once you step into this facility. Especially at the quarterback position.
That's why they win. They understand that if they want to be a part of this thing, they better do their job. They better know their role, and no one defines your role better than Bill Belichick. And he made me feel like I was the most important backup quarterback on the planet.
I never felt dumb asking him a question. He would always explain things to me. And had I gone somewhere else and played with somebody else and didn't learn from him, I wouldn't have been able to be prepared to play when my time was called.
Yeah, but one thing about him as opposed to a lot of other quarterbacks, because one thing, when it's no better feeling as an athlete when you're dominating a team or some guy so much that you can look in his eye and you can tell he's like, I don't want to be here. And Brady never had that look. Some of his guys did. But he never had that look. And that's the one thing I respect about him. This guy, he's a competitor, man. And as pretty as he is, as beautiful as his family is, his pretty wife, quarterback did all the pretty women. He is a fierce competitor, and I think we all walked out of that game as winners, of course, but with a lot more respect for him in that aspect.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.